YouTube, what's going on? So I haven't seen you in a while. Well, it's only been a week, but it feels like a while. I've just been pretty busy doing my uni stuff and getting my exams out of the way, so it's been pretty hectic the last 2 weeks. And now I'm not off. Well, I'm free for like a month and a half-ish, so I'm gonna spend this time stack up on content. I got a few things planned for you next week that's pretty exciting that I'm gonna take you through. It'll be quite funny as well, so I'm excited to take you through there. But yeah, today's video is just gonna be on common gym mistakes that I see people make and a lot of people ask me about, and just to get you almost ready for when gyms open in the next, well, not sure, apparently I've been May, but it's supposed to be April 12th, so yeah, you take a few little bits of advice to when to start back in the gym in April 12th. For those in England anyway, I don't know about Wales, we're all over the shop. So the first mistake I see a lot of people make, or a lot of people do make, is a lack of training variance, and they'll train within their comfort zone. Now, I'm guilty of this. Within the first 2 years of training, I went through 2 splits, I think, and I was on a push-pull leg split for over a year, which is too long for a split anyway, and I was just doing the same exercises at the same tempo, the 3x10 or the 3x12. I wasn't really changing up anything, and it was just quite repetitive, so your body just get used to it, and really you're not maximizing the gains that you could be having. So for me, what I definitely would suggest is changing it up. Maybe include drop sets, include different concentric and eccentric times. So concentric is contracting muscle, say I'm doing a row, it'd be contracting muscle, and eccentric would be letting it go. So change up the times on the contraction and on the concentric and eccentric. It's a mouthful for me. Keep intensity high, so don't ever slack off in your training. And a good pointer for this is if you have a training partner and you train with someone stronger than you or bigger than you, a lot of times it does open up your mind to like, oh, this is how hard I should be training, and this is how hard I am training, so I should really be training a lot harder than I am. So then you are almost obliged to keep that pace. So yeah, try and find someone to train that's bigger than you or stronger than you in order to push you. But if they're doing less than you, just know you're doing something right at least. So yeah, just don't go in your comfort zone. If you find yourself slacking off and just not putting as much effort you could into your training, like I said, change up the variance, change up your split. There's a million things you can do. Change up your training partners, many things you can do to help you give your training new things to adapt to. The second point, a lot of especially newcomers make, is inadequate rest. I can't speak. Inadequate rest. Inadequate rest. There we go. So yeah, basically, again, for me, I'm guilty of this. I was quite young. Well, I wasn't young, it's like a year ago, but I was just doing football training. I was training 2 times a week, 3 times a week. I was playing 2 times a week, and I was also training every single day. And I was doing cardio in the gym. So for me, no one needs that amount of training really. A good little thing I've seen people buy recently is the Whoop band. I haven't got one myself just because I only wear diamonds on my wrist. Nah, I'm joking. Just because, I don't know, I probably will invest in it soon, to be honest, but I don't feel like I'd wear it as often as I should be. So yeah, definitely I'll drop the link in the description for the Whoop band. They're really, really good. Definitely something you should look at investing in. But yeah, make sure your training fits your style of where you want to go, but also take into account how important rest is and sleep. So like, people will be doing cardio, weight training and working 9 to 5. Sometimes it'll be too much for your body. So make sure it is you're not feeling run down and rough after a good week of training. So train it to your goals, but don't go too hard sometimes. Okay, so my next point is going to be improper form. This is a basic mistake that everybody makes, even me still to this day. My form isn't perfect. Without years and years of training and perfecting your technique, you'll never have the perfect technique in order to maximize muscle gain. But it's something that for me previously has led to a few injuries, in which now I'm still recovering from. I just had an ultrasound on my right shoulder, and well, I'm going to have an ultrasound on my right shoulder because I have some muscle imbalances. They think it's a tendon tear, and I've had to do some rotator cuff rehab sessions. But again, these joints, the shoulders, the knees, the hips, you have to take care of them because they are easily damaged and they can become weak over time. Now, for me personally, it was pressing too heavy, ego lifting. You know, being a young kid, I was skinny, probably shouldn't have been lifting the weights I was doing. Just trying to not show off, but like, you know, beat my personal records. So it'd be pressed at the top, I'd lock out at the top and my whole right shoulders give way completely. So I think it's a tendon tear on the rear part, but I don't know what it is. The ultrasound will say. But yeah, improper form definitely leads to injuries. It can make you look stupid in the gym and everybody will just be like, what the hell is he doing? So yeah, try to perfect your technique in a way that adheres to your body, because not everybody's going to be the same. Make sure you put the hours in and study on YouTube or on the internet. Study how to perform the technique in a good way. Record yourself in the gym, see if you're doing it right and correct what you're doing wrong. So that's the only way you're going to get better. And if you lift then with better technique, you're all going to get bigger quicker. My last point I've mentioned before is me sticking to a training plan for too long, but I'm going to dive a bit more in depth by here because I want to stress that changing up the variables to your body is so important so that it does not get in a almost linear state where you want to be shocking your body with different levels of intensity, different workouts, different machines. That's why even me, I change my gym sometimes because my body's I feel like my body's used to the machines sometimes and I'm almost used to the weights that's in the gym. So yeah, definitely I think for a training plan you shouldn't be on the training plan longer than say 5 to 6 months. I mean, that's an extensive long amount of time. I'm not saying you gotta switch up completely every 5 to 6 months because then within 4 years of training you've done 8 training programs, but that's just ridiculous. As long as you're changing up the variables and the intensities and the machines, you know, just give your body different variables to adapt to and you will see the most growth. As for when gyms are opening, I suggest slowly. As for when gyms are opening, I wouldn't go full speed back into the split you was doing before. I'd take it a bit easier, maybe go into like a training and muscle group once a week. Now, I think this is all you'll need at the start because your DOMs will just be so bad and you'll be aching everywhere and your body will not almost use the frequency that you can be given it if you used to do a PPL or one of them splits. So yeah, definitely slowly ease into it. Maybe a chest tries, back buys, you know, typical bro split when you're going in, and then gradually increase the volume as your body's getting more used to the gym, and that's the way you're going to see the most growth because essentially rest in the first 2 weeks is going to be the most important variable for your growth, as well as obviously nutrition, which is always #1. So yeah, those are a few mistakes that I think people make, and I've got a few questions as of recently. I hope that's covered it for you. I hope you've learned a few things and you'll take it into the gym when we start back. God knows when I'll be, but yeah. As I said earlier, I got a few good videos, entertaining videos coming through next week. They're going to be more funnier and more entertaining for you lot. I mean, these typical gym videos, this is giving my knowledge to you and hopefully you don't make the same mistakes I do. So yeah, because now I'm with a battered shoulder, I can't even do no pressing movements. I'm constantly like this, through my rotator cuff. It's long, but you know, injury's part of the game, so yeah, don't ego lift. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and like usual, keep working.